Hello, hello. All right. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. And without further ado, I got a tip of the day for you. You can't teach a goldfish to fly. So teach it to embrace its natural beauty. Whew. Yeah, like, wait a second. What are you getting after, Jeremiah? Actually, you probably saw the title of this podcast and you went, oh, here we go. Look, I I got to tell you, right from the beginning, here's the truth. You, whoever you are listening, are lovable as you are. The lie that's being told to all of my friends and clients that I've worked with who have wrestled with identity crises, which, by the way, is not only in the LGBTQ community, it is rampant across the board. You could be male or you could be female. You could have gender dysphoria. You could have depression. And the truth of the matter is, identity can absolutely take a massive beating because of your experience of the world around you, but more importantly, because of your experience of yourself, how you talk to yourself internally, your internal dialogue, your little tentacles of emotion that are picking up information. Right, we have five senses. They're like five tentacles reaching out into the world, gathering information from the world around us, and oftentimes that information comes in, and you, like me and like everybody else, have had this experience of feeling like we were less than. But that's the lie. I'm not willing to assume that you're broken just because there's some dysfunction going on. Because what I have seen over and over and over as a therapist is the reality, not whether you like it or not, but the reality that you absolutely 100% of you and myself are lovable as you are. You don't have to change everything about you. Your little tentacles that are going out there, your five senses that are picking up information about the world around you, and your internal dialogue and your experience of that sometimes assumes that you're broken when you're not. You build defenses to protect yourself. And sometimes those defenses that were there to serve a purpose, to survive a really extreme or difficult situation. Somebody dies, friends leave you, you were adopted, and your parents aren't, you wonder if your parents love you, they're not there. Some extreme situation. And you build these defenses and you think, whew, I got that taken care of. Thank goodness I'm protected now. And then when you use those defenses in situations that are not extreme, they can become dysfunctional and potentially even dangerous. So, starting from this lens of you can't teach a goldfish to fly, so teach it to embrace its natural beauty. That's your tip of the day. My question for you is, are you a goldfish? Because if you are, there's some really great things about you. Wait a minute. If you're a bird, you should fly. You should absolutely fly. If you're a monkey, you should climb trees. Doesn't mean you can't walk on the ground sometimes, but you're made to climb trees. If you're a mole, I'm not going to ask you to fly or swim in the ocean. I want to see you do what you are designed to do. Be uniquely you. Because that's what makes you lovable as you are. When you pretend or try to become something that you're not, you're saying to yourself, I am too broken to be fixed. So I am going to take steps to try to change everything about me to conform to what I want the world to see me as. I got too much acne. I'm too large. I'm too small. I'm too short, too tall. No, don't believe the lie. The truth is you're lovable as you are. The lie is you're broken as you are. That's the lie. So today I wanted to do this because look, we are, you all know this, we are in, we're in Pride Month. Now, if you followed me, if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, I have no hate for somebody who is gay, lesbian, trans, bisexual. I have no hate for them, and I'm not them. I've worked with people who wrestle with these things. I'm not here to tell you you're right and wrong. That's not my role. I am here to tell you where we get unhealthy. Why? Because I can tell when it becomes unhealthy. Now, you're like, well, how come your radar is so good, Jeremiah? Look, I don't assume that I'm going to know everything. I actually assume the opposite, which is why I can trust my radar. I assume that I don't know enough. I ask more questions. I get more curious. And I seek more answers. Do I find them all? No, not all of them. Do I find some of them? Of course. Of course. Just like when you seek answers, you too will find some answers. Will it be the ones you want to find? Maybe, maybe not. But for me, when it comes to gender and gender dysphoria, I have some answers for you. And so today, I want to share some of those with you. I want you to be able to see um, a little bit of the reality that is what we are talking about here. And what we are talking about is hopefully this all works and you can see this. I'm gonna try to make it visible to you. What we are talking about is male, female, masculine, feminine. Okay, so for those of you who are following along on Rumble or YouTube, you're going to get to see a presentation. Now, if you followed me long enough, probably a year ago, I went through something similar. And so you can go back in my podcast, you could probably find this. I didn't do that because it's pertinent today. And so I'm going to present it to you today as information. You have to decide if it fits or not. Okay. So let's say, as this demonstrates, you have predominantly female here on the left at the top. You have predominantly male at the bottom on the right. Let's say that to the far right is masculine. All right. I didn't label that. I'm talking you through it. Masculine. On the far left is feminine. What we have here is a representation of what is most common. Now, notice there's overlap in the middle, masculine women and feminine men. And they're in the middle, and they sort of trend and in that direction of being very similar, but from the male side or the female side. Now, why is this important? Yeah, this is important because I want you to understand, if you're falling in the category of predominantly male or predominantly female in this chart, that's great. I'm happy for it. If you fall outside of the norm, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're atypical. You're a little more unique in some ways, but that doesn't mean you're broken. So you notice I put that on the chart here this time. Females in this area are outside of the norm and still not broken. They just fall outside of the norm. And the males in that area, that where there's more femininity to them. So you're probably asking the question, if you're remotely intelligent and inquisitive at this moment, you are probably asking the question, okay, so what, Jeremiah? You gave us a great scale and you said we're not broken and you said we're lovable as we are. Whether we are a masculine male, a feminine male, a masculine female, or a feminine female, and even if we're an outlier, we're still lovable as we are. You're probably saying, why don't some people feel lovable as they are? Bingo. Now we hit a cultural friction point. That's why you've probably heard me say this whole conversation about this trans movement is not about the psychological state of the individual, unfortunately, although it's been treated that way, which my profession has failed on that. You can go back and listen to that podcast. What it's about is culture saying it's completely unacceptable to be an outlier. That's not true. That's the lie. That's false. There will be outliers, and they are a beautiful and wonderful part of the experience. The problem comes when it becomes dangerous. Outliers are not a problem until they're dangerous, right? 90% of the men and women on this planet would never consider having sex with a child because it's dangerous. Probably more than 90%, 95%, 98%. Should it be 100%? Yes. Why? Because it's dangerous. That's why. But let's be clear. Having gender dysphoria doesn't make you dangerous. Calling yourself trans doesn't make you dangerous, or gay, or lesbian, or bi. It doesn't make you dangerous. There are behaviors that are associated with these things that can make you dangerous. Just like heterosexuals can be dangerous. It's no different. So we got to frame this different. Creating social norms is necessary. I'm proposing that to you. We must create social norms. We have to. And predominantly male and predominantly female, if you fall into those normal categories, then great. What we also must do is learn that simultaneously we can love outliers that aren't dangerous. They're not dangerous, so we can love them. If I want to streak down the road naked, that's dangerous. Why? Because that social norm of being clothed in public arenas is designed to protect the masses. They don't want to see that, nor would I. There may be some people who would think that that's funny and okay, but it's not the masses who think it's funny and okay. And so you're like, Does that mean that the masses get to decide everything? It's not what I'm saying. Because right now, this whole conflict is caused by the masses. Sometimes the masses get things wrong. They label things as dangerous that aren't. If you're part of the LGBTQ community, you probably feel some of that. You're probably thinking to yourself, I'm not dangerous. Why am I being labeled and hated as though I'm dangerous? I'm not dangerous, which I would argue the vast majority of the people in the LGBTQ community are not actually dangerous. It's a fringe population within that grouping. Just like Christianity. You're like, what? Big jump, Jeremiah, big jump. Yeah, big jump. Not really. The vast majority of Christians try to be non-judgmental. And yet, the ones who are doing all the judging make it feel dangerous when it's not dangerous. So those judgmental people need to be corrected. Not your place. All you Christians out there, like I'm a brother in Christ. I'm not dangerous. I'm not judging. But you, if you're judging people, not your place. Just like if you're part of the LGBTQ, you know the acronym, community. If you're not dangerous, make sure it's clear. Just like I'm making sure it's clear. Then we can have a conversation, right? I'll give you a couple of examples. Men wearing makeup. It's an outlier. Definitely an outlier. But is it dangerous? Nah. Women serving as police, firefighters, in the military, in combat zones. Is that the norm? No. Is it an outlier? Yes. Is it dangerous? Not if the expectations are the same in terms of, ability to serve and do the job. Not dangerous. Not at all. Trans having identity issues. Outlier? No, it's not an outlier. Everybody has identity issues. They come at different times and different transitions in our lives. So it's not even an outlier for somebody who's trans, who's calling themselves trans, to have gender dysphoria and that's not an outlier. That's an identity issue. And everybody goes through identity issues. Does that, so I know you're probably like, you're taking away my uniqueness. No, I'm not. I'm helping you understand you're lovable as you are. If you hear my words correctly, it's pretty clear. I'm not suggesting that you don't have work to do. Everybody I've encountered as a counselor who has identity issues, identity crises of any kind, whether that's attachment stuff, whether that's human sexuality, whether that's masculine femininity, I don't care. All of these things. You ask any mom on the planet. Your identity shifts the moment you have your child. It just does. Ask any dad on the planet. Present dad, somebody who's there. Your identity shifts. And is that a crisis? It could be. For some people, it is. I've encountered that. Does that mean they're broken? Not at all. It means they got some things to work through. Just like if you call yourself trans. I don't think you're broken. It just means you got some things to work through. It means you're not accepting who you are. You are not accepting that you're a goldfish and that flying is actually out of the question. Cannot sew wings on a goldfish and make it a bird. It doesn't work like that. You might be able to make it look more bird like, but it's still a goldfish. Now, what do you do with all of this? Here's my hope. This is my hope. I hope you let everybody know, first and foremost, that you're willing to love them as they are. That doesn't mean accept their behavior as socially acceptable, because that's different. Accepting them as a person, as a unique, lovable person, is one piece of the puzzle. And then negotiating the social norms and coming to an agreement on how we're going to navigate these fantasies, these dreams that you have. By the way, we should all be doing that. Whether we are struggling with gender dysphoria or not, let's love first. It gives us, that doesn't mean I condone. Love does not mean I condone. And yes, for some of you out there, you're going to have to love from a distance because you know you are not capable of loving up close and staying healthy. Great. So love at a distance, but love first. Let's address one more thing before I let you go here today. This whole transphobic, stuff that you hear out there. Look, do I think it's right that we have a month of recognition for being in the LGBTQ community? No, I don't. Because I also wouldn't think that it's right to have a hetero month. I think that's absolute overkill. Do I think it's right and healthy to acknowledge people's uniqueness? Sure, I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. And if you really want to make a difference in the world around you, it's still going to circle back to love first. Forgive yourself. Why? Because you're not accepting who you are. I'm not just talking to LGBTQ community here. Every one of you have had identity issues. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know. And use a different radar. Instead of hate, love. Instead of condone, accept. It doesn't mean you condone. Accept and condone are totally different. I can accept you as you are and not condone the behaviors you are displaying. Totally different. And forgive yourself and the people around you. Let's come to the table. Let's have the hard conversation. I hope I've set the stage here for you. And my hope is that someday y'all would start engaging in this process with me. If you're heterosexual, engage in this process. If you're part of LGBTQ community, engage in this process. But whatever you do, don't do it from hate. There's too many distortions in hate. Way too many distortions. You will make too many mistakes. If you start posting hate on this stuff, let's be real. You are the problem at that point. You are the one who becomes dangerous at that point. But if you inquisitively ask healthy questions, meaning pretty much anything that you might want to know, and you genuinely are open to a response that comes from a person that is maybe understanding things different than you, then you might get somewhere. I know today I was slow, methodical, trying to help this sink in. I know today I went a little bit more lesson heavy. But my hope is during this Pride Month, every single person out there will choose to accept who they are just a little bit more, as opposed to trying to fly if you're a goldfish. Doesn't work. No matter how hard we try, you're still going to be a goldfish. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff, and we will see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.